Friends, good evening and welcome to another edition of SPTV News Live. Now, how many of you have actually heard of this person, this social media influencer that might be a secret Scientologist? Don't you just love that term, social media influencer? Put a 1 in the chat if you've actually heard of Mustard Lady / Tiffany / My Adventure to Fit. 2 in the chat if you haven't, and 3 in the chat if, like me, you couldn't give a rat's ass. The only reason that we're exposing these kind of people, if she is in fact a Scientologist, and I think we'll find that out by the end of the broadcast, is because these people give money, generally speaking, to the human trafficking and many other things I can add to that. The human trafficking cult of Scientology, their money often goes to serve abusers. This lady that we're talking about, that goes by the name of Tiffany, she went through a weight loss transformation, apparently, and then she hawks this product, whether it's electrolytes this month, the keto diet next month, or whatever. She seems to be making a lot of money that goes to Scientology, and she appears to have been born and raised in, but will neither confirm nor deny the allegations. She really reminds me of this person who I'm sure you guys will definitely be aware of. Dr. Eric Berg, who does the keto diet. Now, I'm no expert on diets or anything, and I'm sure those of you that follow the ex-Scientology community will know that his son, Ian Rafalko, has done extensive exposing of his father, and he has 11.1 million subscribers. And no doubt there's a ton of that money that goes to the cult of Scientology. So let's get into this person. We'll probably be here for about an hour if I had to take a guess. We got some videos, some video clips to go through, as well as some kind of evidence to present. This is a little bit of a lighter video than the ones that we've done, but nonetheless, it's kind of because this person's kind of hard to take seriously. But nonetheless, it's important just to know who's out there hawking bullshit. Nasty Nathaniel, you, sir, are a legendary auditor of the cult of Scientology. Love your work, sir. Continue on. And also, so BBC, could the independent Scientologists still be considered part of the cult because they haven't realized yet that LRH's teachings are a foundation for what the cult has grown into? Excellent question to kick this off, because some might say, hey, well, she's just an independent Scientologist and her family's into it. My opinion is that yes, you still, until you get what I call it a mind virus, because it is so subtle once you become a Scientologist that you can often leave and not even, people have gone for years, my friends, not even realizing that there was anything wrong. Sometimes they watch Leah Remini in the aftermath and they go, holy shit. And then they learn about the abuses. And then they go down the rabbit hole of finding out the mind control that was done to them. So until you do that, in my opinion, you can subconsciously, without even realizing it, be affected by that. And yes, there's so many people in the X community, particularly one that I've pointed out a lot to beware of, in my opinion, is Karen de la Carriere, who still practices I call her and Jeffrey independent OSA, meaning they practice the same gaslighting and fair game techniques within the X community. And that would be, in my opinion, because she still has not let go of the tech, her love of Hubbard, and all this stuff, even though she says that she has. So that's my answer to that. So let's get started with this Tiffany gal, also known as Mustard Lady, Tiffany, and My Adventure to Fit. So the chicken applesauce mustard lady is apparently, actually, stand by. Let me throw you guys in the chat, and I want to remove the annoying thing at the bottom here. If you have any questions, as you can see, put some question marks out there, and we'll cover them as we go or at the end. But you guys can see that, okay? Okay, so the chicken applesauce mustard lady is apparently part of Scientology. If you look at the My Adventure to Snark page, you'll see the photos of her at Scientology events, photos of her husband on the Clearwater Scientology Instagram, Facebook posts, and a Scientology group seeking an assistant. She's also deleting the comments about it on TikTok and won't speak about it at all to confirm or deny. And here's kind of her claim to fame, if you want to call it that. So she went viral on TikTok, but she's been on social media for years, essentially scamming people, starting a new diet, pushing her products on people desperate for weight loss. As soon as that product fizzles out, she has a new health issue and then fixes it with a new strange diet and sells ebooks so people can join her. She began exclusively eating, here's the secret, guys, Secret exclusively eating mustard and chicken applesauce with a bunch of other things on her Tiffany plate. And this is how she cured her Lyme disease, supposedly. This sounds already like a Scientologist with pseudoscience. She sold an ebook about how she eats mustard and bragged about selling 5K copies at $5 each. So that's $25,000 for dunking sausages in mustard. Okay. And here she is. She has on TikTok 1.2 million followers, not too shabby. Here she is on the gram with 276,000 followers and a YouTube channel bragging of 109,000 subscribers. I guess we'll get a little bit of, as they say in Scientology, the mass on this person so you can see who the hell we're talking about. And then we shall continue on. I'll try to put this at 1.5 speed eventually because it's going to drive you crazy, I assume. About that. Of course, I have myself on mute again. Damn it, I haven't done that for a while. Just wanted to say sorry. The music is annoying anyways. It's not any worse going 1.5 speed. But if you haven't passed out through the crazy music, please stay with us. Okay, I'm going to skip this forward a little bit. I don't want to torture you guys. So you can see she's losing freaking weight, right? Okay, so she lost a bunch of weight and, good for her, but she seems to be involved in a scam that has to do with the, well, as we get into this, you'll see more, but here's what she's pimping out now, the electrolytes. It reminds me of that movie that we're living in today, Idiocracy. You just need to get electrolytes. Let me pull this actually over here, throw you guys up the chat real quick so you can see this. So this is the latest thing she's pimping. Banana cream. This is her page, which I won't bother to link because I don't really want to promote this shit. But she's promoting on her page electrolytes. What TikTok's saying about our electrolytes and more electrolytes and even clean hydration without the sugar, blah, 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 blah. So back to the aforementioned My Adventure to Snark, which is where I ran across this. And these guys have definitely done their homework on her and her Scientology background. And Tiffany's kind of gone into hiding a little bit, shall we say, or at least she's hard to find when I try to do some of this research because of the very exposure that she's been getting as of late, not least on here. Just to give you a little rundown of who this person is before we get deeper into this. These are Substacks, by the way, where people, come on and snark about people. So here's the woman we all love to hate. Check out her name, blah, blah, blah. So what do we got here? Get to most of her stuff on Instagram, which I don't really want to show you because it's kind of repulsive, is kind of like her doing sexual innuendos and looking like she's eating a penis, often in the form of a sausage. That's what some of those images are. And let's see, I know you fucking lying. New coffee recipe just dropped. What the hell is this lady doing? And she's just always pimping out wares, like I said, whether it's from electrolytes, the keto diet this month, or, buy my products, buy my products, buy my products. Yes, she's always yo-yoing back and forth and then making all sorts of excuses as to why that is. I imagine begging for reviews, and these are the reviews your followers leave. So she's also in a controversy about her posts, apparently being under attack or whatever. So she's blocking people and she's encouraging her followers to go over and bump up her reviews. So Tiffany says, we have now gone from 1,084 reviews to 1,366. It's all about stats in the cult. 282 new reviews from you guys in 48 hours. This has brought our score from 3.9 to 4.0. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You have no idea how much this helps. How embarrassing. And then also, buy my electrolytes while you're at it. Damn, y'all, we haven't heard about her Lyme disease in a minute. Again, this gal's either a hypochondriac, selling a scam, or a bit of both, because I kind of feel bad for her. She's a mess, but it looks like she grew up in she's a second generation Scientologist, as I think you're going to see. So I do have some sympathy, because this gal is really, really troubled, shall we say. And then she thinks that there's a planned attack happening. I wonder if this is an organized takedown. Some sour competitor, Tiffany, says it's an organized takedown. I saw the entire thread. They think it's hilarious what they're doing. That's probably in reference to what we're looking at now. More posts of her playing putting dicks in her mouth via sausage, laugh out loud. She literally just invented review attacks that never happened, and then went on to ruin her store by breaking Amazon terms. I'll leave a link in this so you can see all the bullshit that she's been up to, but she definitely appears to be a hot mess. And in typical Scientology fashion, she says, yes, we are taking legal action, but it's a slow process and will take a few months/weeks. She's a liar. Here's proof you can't return her frickin' products. And then, like I said, these people are giving them hell, man. Everyone needs to go comment Xenu on her posts. And then I think they even throw up a picture of Leah Remini up here. I love her. And they show Leah, on this. So these people are definitely up to speed, and provide some good information on her background, which is kind of hidden. And they're here, me, after a long day at the Church of Scientology, and check the Amazon reviews of my shit product. So more stuff on this thread, kind of laying into her here. We'll get to the video clip. So no one here has any, this is why it's important to kind of expose people like this and Dr. Berg and such. And there's other social media influencers too that we'll cover. No one here has any intentions of buying your Scientology cult funding electrolytes just to leave some crappy review. There's really no need, sweetie. The quote, verified purchaser reviews speak for themselves. One person said on a post here about leaving bad reviews, but we can guarantee you no one did. Here's the important point. The only thing we care about is educating people on is the fact that their money, when buying your products, is funding a cult that harbors rapists and child abusers and traffickers. So, again, they've been trying to get her attention, and she will neither confirm nor deny whether she's a Scientologist. This is a post from a few days ago where Holly says she's not owning up to her Scientology. It's what they teach. Sad little person. And you could tell she has definitely made a weight transformation. She's been through a bunch of plastic surgery, one of which was botched, and she's put her body and her mental health in extreme, danger. I waited through hours of this gal's videos just to do this little presentation. So I'm only going to show you some of it, because it's a really disturbing just how obsessed she is with weight loss and such. Tiffany thinks she's doing something with the post, but I think they're hilarious. We can see what this is. Lazy content because she doesn't know what else to do, and deflecting so she doesn't have to answer. All her content lately is her promoting the hate she gets. It's literally just ridiculous. Constant posts like this, like she's thriving off the we love you BS crap. People comment on the post. Now, to finally see who this person is, this is a really good study, in my opinion, of what I'd call narcissism or just being a Scientologist, because this is the biggest word salad. You'll notice that maybe it's just me, let me know, but I couldn't follow the through line of her story. I couldn't make any sense of what she's about to say. And it so takes me back to being a Scientologist, where she seems quite intelligent. She's well-spoken, but the complexity of the story, if you can't explain your situation or why people are saying you're a scam artist and back it up in a coherent, easy way, and you just bullshit people with word salad where you speak for 8 minutes, but you actually say nothing, but you semi-sound intelligent, just a classic study in being a Scientologist here. We'll see. Let me, guys, this is an 8-minute video. It is kind of worth watching the whole thing, just in my opinion, from what I just described. But I don't think we're going to play it all. And if it starts to drive you nuts, let me know, because I don't want to unnecessarily torture you. But let's go. This is her just a couple weeks ago addressing the allegations.
Good morning, everybody. Okay, so we're going to go over...
Actually, let me put this on. I had it on 1.5 speed because I could barely listen to it. But let's go normal.
Good morning, everybody. Okay, so we're going to go over some of the allegations that are against me, since I am the face of people's viral videos and the topic of conversation.
Right off the bat, I just want to say the reason I say narcissism is because you can tell just right there that she thinks she's the viral voice in the face and all eyes are on her, and she seems to be getting off on that.
Good morning, everybody. Okay, so we're going to go over some of the allegations that are against me, since I am the face of people's viral videos and the topic of conversation. Obviously, I don't want to do this, and I'm exhausted over it, but it just continues to happen over and over again. So here we go. The first accusation is that I claim to have lost 80 pounds using the mustard diet. That never once happened. That was the media who painted the picture. So apparently the implication was there because it was in my bio. This is what my bio has looked like for the last 6 years, since 2016. This is what my bio has looked like. If I did change it, it was a slight variation and almost always went back because people who came to my profile sort of wanted to relate to me by seeing what my starting weight of 230 pounds was, to be able to see where they could get if they were also 230 pounds and my similar height. 5'7". When I started the mustard thing, I wasn't like, oh, I should go change my bio to make sure that people don't know. It didn't cross my mind that I should just go delete my bio. You go on my website, it says how I lost weight, and there's an entire thing. It says weight loss guide, okay? And that is what I did to lose weight. The mustard guide does not say anywhere, this is what I did to lose 80 pounds. But there is an ebook right next to it that does, which is the way that I lost the 50 pounds, and I documented that on the description of it. Where most of the implications come from the weight loss is from sharing people's weight loss stories who did my ebook, The Mustard Guide, which is $4.99, and there's a coupon code on there, so most people paid like $4 or $3. I would share these people's posts on here for people to see. These people have lost weight. Still daily, people are posting their testimonials of them losing weight regardless. For some people, having the sense of community of like eating the same lunch together, it gives them the inspiration to sort of keep going because it makes fun out of a situation that some people really struggle with. If you go to my YouTube channel, I have videos all over my YouTube saying this is how I lost weight, podcasts, interviews, this is how I lost 50 pounds, intermittent fasting, benefits of intermittent fasting. If you go down my page, this is how I lost weight, this is how I lost weight. I think I even have
Can you see the incredible complexity of what she's saying so that you get lost in the quote unquote facts? Also, you can hear somebody keep coming in the door, her mom or her kid or whatever. She's also got 3 kids that are undoubtedly being indoctrinated into Scientology. You can hear the edit. You can see the editing as people keep coming into her house and she's trying to spit this out.
Series at the top of my page of how I lost weight. All right, the next allegation is that I flip-flop my diet every 2 months and then I sell another ebook conveniently as soon as I'm done with that diet. So let's talk about that for a second. I've shared 3 methods of weight loss since the beginning of 2016, and I think for women to change their diet, they shouldn't be shamed or made wrong for that, especially if they did something that worked really well for them and people wanted to do it alongside them. So they made a little ebook that everybody could sort of do it together. So in the beginning, I did dairy-free and gluten-free, and I shared that along with everybody, and I never sold an ebook for that. Then I did something more specific that was a...
Let me make sure I'm not on mute. Okay, I'm going to speed this up a little bit. It's too much. Let's go 1.5.
Specific list of foods, and I sold that as a meal plan back in 2017. So many people did that. That went viral on Instagram, and so many people, 1,000 people were able to get pregnant and conceive because of this. We made a Facebook group just for the people who were able to conceive alone from this diet. Hundreds of people were able to lose weight. Crazy testimonials, 100 pounds down. We had at least 5 people that I knew of that lost 100 pounds on this meal plan. And a lot of them were able to make a living for their family by then also promoting that ebook. So it was really successful for a lot of people and was the farthest thing from a scam. That diet was what I used to go from 165 to 137. I did dairy-free, gluten-free, and exercise for that beginning set of weight from 230 to 165, whatever that number was. So first ebook, 21-day plan back in the day. Then next, Next ebook I did after that was a keto ebook, which was after I did try to use that same meal plan. After my third baby was born, I was gaining all this weight postpartum. I did the meal plan and I didn't lose weight. And I was like, what the heck? I've used this meal plan to lose weight so many times, and this time it's not working. What the heck is happening? I was counting my calories down to 1,600, and I would go, and every day I was the same number. And I'm like, what is happening? I normally would be like 3 or 4 pounds down just from water weight, and I'm not even losing that water weight. So what's happening? That's when I discovered I had reactive hypoglycemia. I had to put a blood sugar monitor on because the doctor said, sounds like you have hypoglycemia, which would inhibit your body's ability to lose weight. Because
again, I think she's just completely making up all these ailments and shit to justify it in her weird head. I'm going to skip forward a little bit because it's just more of the same.
Mustard book for people who wanted to join an accountability group or a Facebook group or a Facebook community of what I was eating and what I was being instructed to eat by my doctor for my Lyme disease. I have Lyme disease, I have co-infections, I have Epstein-Barr, I have mold, I have all the things that come along with Lyme disease, because Lyme disease is not usually isolated. You have a bunch of things that go with it. So the doctor said, here's your protocol, here's what you do. There's 2 doctors in the practice. One doctor told me to do one thing, one doctor told me to do another. One said I could have this, the other didn't. It was confusing for me. So I'd come on here and make the changes as I was getting the information. And then you guys would be like, wait a minute, you just said. And I'm like, that's because they told me and I'm confused. But either way, that didn't reflect the ebook. The ebook was fruits, veggies, mustard, chicken sausages, how to shop for clean brands that weren't full of fillers. That's what the ebook was. But more than anything, it was the community. It was the access to the Facebook group, to get into the Facebook group where not all the trolls were saying da 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 da, just like a quiet, safe place for all of the people who did.
Okay, you guys get the gist. That is actually too much to listen to. Blowdro, what's up, my man? No Scientology lingo yet, but thank you for the segue, because I poured through hours of torture listening to this gal's videos, and there's tons of lingo, and I'll just hit you with a couple of them, and then we can jump off of some actual Scientology too, because of the lingo she uses. Also, yeah, Carrie, good, decent point here. I don't know anything. Okay, Carrie says Eric Berg is legit. His son's an asshole, and I hate Scientology. I don't know anything about the keto diet. That's not my area. So, and I know a lot of people do love his product. I personally find his son to be quite narcissistic. I'm not a fan of Ian's either. However, his son did disconnect from him. I also hate Scientology, so I'm kind of right there in the middle with you. But I don't claim to know Ian's story. I do know that a shite load of money that he makes from the subscribers and from the keto diet, even if it's legit, goes to fund a really dangerous cult. That's enough for me personally to expose the guy and why I don't like him. Twisted Sister of Paranormal. Hey, Doug, does Tom Cruise ever watch YouTube? I would have no idea, but I don't see why he wouldn't, maybe, or even care about what's going on with Scientology lawsuits. I mean, what happened with the sexual abuse charges against Danny Masterson, that there's something wrong. I have no insight on that, my friend. I don't know. I'm sure David Miscavige, the cult leader, would whisper in Tom's ear about the same party line that they're saying in Scientology. What they're saying to Scientologists, because they do know about it. They don't totally live in a bubble world. They will not go on the internet, generally speaking, and watch negative stuff. I sure as hell didn't. When I was in the cult, I had no interest in it. But what they're telling people in the bubble world is Danny's basically innocent. The suppressive persons, particularly in the way of Leah Remini, caused this sexual assault to come forward and wrongly convict Danny. But fret not. We're taking care of it. We're going to get the tech in, and he's going to be okay. I know that sounds crazy, but they live in a world within a world. And I would imagine it's no different with Tom Cruise being told the same thing. What's up, Nasty? Have you ever thought of doing a video on Dr. Ryan Lee? He's a Scientology chiropractor in Los Angeles. I will. I don't know who that is. The only one, unless I'm thinking of the guy that does like the karate chop shit and the weird head stuff with the people. Do you know what I'm talking about? That's the only Scientology chiropractor who is absolutely hysterical. He has these really funny videos. But if it's not that guy, I will do something on Dr. Ryan Lee. As many social media influencers that we can find, Nasty, I'll do them on. So thanks for the information. Okay, so let's roll back to this. So you got some idea of who this girl is, and since Blow Drill was saying no Scientology lingo, and there wasn't so far in the video, here's some Scientology lingo that we'll jump off of.
I think I remember telling you at this point, like, I'm really happy that I have a diagnosis, right? Like, I'm able to see on the blood sugar monitor what's happening. So now I know I have a diagnosis of reactive hypoglycemia, which I'm always so happy to get a diagnosis, because once you know what is wrong with you, confirmed by a medical doctor, it's up to you now to advocate for yourself and to get the handling that you need. And so this is when I talked to you, and I remember I was having a really hard time with cognitive function and learning and understanding concepts. And so I had you help me explore how to stop going hypoglycemic.
That makes me wonder if that guy, that she has many interviews with this particular guy. That makes me wonder if he's a Scientologist too. Now, Blowdrill, I think I know who you are. I think we're actually friends, right? Did you and any other ex-Scientologists or Scientology watchers catch the Scientology nomenclature there? Let's play it again.
And so this is when I talked to you, and I remember I was having a really hard time with cognitive function and learning and understanding concepts. So I had to pull it
back a little bit. She's talking about getting a handling for the why. Scientologists have this thing where they think that every life problem is a mathematical formula, and they literally have formulas, including things called the conditions formulas, stats, and everything, where you don't have to think too much. You can micromanage your life, and you can do it like a computer program, and you're guaranteed to get said results if you just do this. What she was just talking about here is, I'm glad I had the diagnosis, the why, and now that opens the door, as they say, once you find the why, to a handling, as you'll see. But I'll play that clip, and then we'll go more into this concept as we move on.
Handling that you need. And so this is when I talked to you, and I remember, so now I know I have a diagnosis of reactive hypoglycemia, which I'm always so happy to get a diagnosis, because once you know what is wrong with you, confirmed by a medical doctor, it's up to you now to advocate for yourself and to get the handling that you need.
Okay, now let's go on to this where you'll hear about the why.
The eat less, move more movement, none of it has anything to do with hormones or insulin or blood sugar or your health or your cardiovascular. None of it has anything to do with that. It's just this whole other thing. And so it's really sad, because it's really becoming a huge problem in society, and we don't have the right why to handle it. So
Marco, can you give it like a
drill? I know you will know what that means. Don't have the right why that opens the door for her handling. What are we talking about? Sorry to torture you with this Scientology video, but this is what she's talking about, the concept in Scientology, about how to mathematically and like a computer solve any problem just using a formula.
If our goals are not being achieved, or if we find ourselves in a situation that keeps getting worse,
I have your recalculated numbers.
there is a real identifiable reason for this.
They don't look any different than the last numbers.
You see, things don't just happen. They are caused. There are reasons behind every situation. Reasons that people themselves can control. Here's an example. A guitar manufacturer is struggling. Business is bad, and he needs to track down the real reason. Call this the why. The right why, when found, will always open the door to handling the situation.
Does anybody have any suggestions?
Now, he may be offered all kinds of opinions and explanations as to why sales are down.
It's obvious why. It's the internet and all these computer games.
None of which would actually lead to a workable solution.
Okay, I'm going to 1.5 it since there's too much to get through, but this is kind of interesting in terms of it's all a manipulative tool. I remember my dad always trying to find the right why on me and using this apparently esoteric, like really deep concepts of learning how to critically think, but it all circles back around to Scientology, and it all leads to madness. But let's look at some of the complexity that they add onto these concepts to make it seem like a legitimate, quote, science.
They don't want to take the time to learn how to play guitars anymore.
This is a wrong why.
What do you suggest we do?
It doesn't open the door to improving the situation.
Turn off the internet? Besides, the competition is doing just fine.
The wrong why can cause you to correct things which are not wrong.
Tilt this over here a little bit, get the sound baffle lined up, all right?
And neglect things which are not right. Finding the right why requires skill in investigation. Investigation is the careful discovery and sorting of facts. And it involves the ability to think logically and get to the bottom of things. To get facts, you have to ask questions. Ask yourself, what don't I understand? Find something about the situation that doesn't make sense. Then, question the people in that area to get more data.
Can I have a word?
If one of their answers doesn't make sense or isn't logical,
Quite frankly, the winch just isn't as good as it used to be.
Thank you.
keep asking questions.
Hey, Matt, can I speak to you?
Oh, hey, boss. Sure.
Sooner or later, the real reason, the right why, will show up.
So now I'm having to go to a different supplier.
Uh-huh.
You have the best wood by far of anybody in the business.
But you pay late or you don't pay at all. Ends the same month after month.
Look, I would really like to keep doing.
No payment, no wood.
Hello?
In this case,
No payment, no wood. Scientology is never short of their sexual innuendos.
investigation revealed that the accountant had not been paying their suppliers in a timely manner.
3, 2, 1. Oh!
Lower quality materials were then ordered from somewhere else, which made for lower quality guitars.
The neck on your guitar is warped.
This led to a bad reputation,
Let me get you mine.
causing sales to slump and orders to be canceled.
So now I'm having to go to a different supplier.
I get it. Thank you.
Once the right why is found, the manufacturer will know exactly what to do to correct the situation.
I'll see you later, man. Hey.
Now, statistics can play an important role in investigations. There's always a reason behind a bad statistic.
And it's sinking like a stone.
Question those involved.
Somebody like to explain that to me?
You're looking for data that is illogical.
Well, clearly somebody's just made a mistake. The Jumbo Burger marketing campaign is a huge success.
For example, there's something illogical here, because the marketing campaign couldn't be a huge success if the product's sales are sinking. Both datums can't be true. One of the breakthroughs in Scientology has been to identify the exact points that make something illogical. They're called out points. And the better you get at spotting them, the faster you can get to the bottom of any investigation. You're going to learn how to recognize all the different types of out points, so you can quickly identify what's illogical about any situation. You're also going to find out what plus points are, and why they're equally important to the success of any endeavor.
Looks just like the pictures, too.
These are just part of an entire body of knowledge regarding the subject of investigation. For example, you'll also learn why it's important to know what your ideal scene really is, and how to know if your investigation has led you to the real why.
Our sales are the highest they've ever been.
Knowing how to investigate gives you the power to identify the real reasons behind success or failure in any aspect of life.
Looks good.
With this knowledge, any situation can be repaired, and any goal can be attainable.
Very nice.
Such madness that brings back so many memories, because my dad, not to harp on this, was so convinced that there was always a handling to any problem and everything was a computer formula, that trying to talk rationally to him once I got out of the cult was just impossible. I remember one time, just a quick little story to emphasize how bad the programming is, and that's something that I know you guys don't think that that was rational, but once you get sucked into it, it can seem very technical. It can seem like a science. And then if you happen to get some results from it, there goes your fucking brain. When I was out of the cult, I spent a lot of time homeless and basically starving. And there would be little miracles that would happen along the way that gave me faith that my life was breaking down so a new life can come in, because I couldn't understand how I went from having a loving family, a loving, quote unquote, religious leader in the way of L. Ron Hubbard, all my friends and everything, to almost going homeless the next night. And my dad, one time I called him because I was so desperate, and I said, "Dad, could you just wire fucking $5 to my account? I promise I'll pay you back. I haven't eaten for a couple days. I'm fucking starving." And he, in a very calm tone 40, intentional, in other words, tone of voice, said to me, "Now, son, what you need to do is just expand your anchor points and get some space." Man, I know that sounds funny now, but when I was in that desperate situation all those years ago, and many like it, and I tried to have a talk with my dad, and he would hit me with like I would really need help, but then he'd hit me with concepts like that. When he said that, it would just cause terror in my brain. Like, what was I involved in? Who is my dad? What the fuck is happening here? And what did I just hear on the phone? Anyways, back to this. So is she a freaking Scientologist or not? Let's build a case here. So this is really interesting. Again, very clever people on Tiffany's old logo, very clever people on the Snark site. So Tiffany's old logo, the one that she uses in her product line, is similar to the Scientology symbol, and she wears a Scientology cross necklace. Here's the symbol. And again, ex-Scientologists will recognize the double triangle, which represents a KRC and ARC triangle. An ex-Scientologist says here, in Scientology, they have two triangles called the ARC and KRC triangles as a representation of understanding and the vital word in Scientology, control. They're vital to the cult indoctrination process, and as you can see, she used it for inspiration. Also, as an ex-member, I've seen hundreds of these cross necklaces, and they come in many sizes and materials, but they all have 8 points. Although on the upper levels of Scientology, you learn L. Ron Hubbard was doubting Jesus existed at all and called Jesus a, quote, boy-loving con man. So they use a cross to appear more religious than they are. Tiffany's probably never read any advanced material, so that I don't expect that she thought that through. But I can say the fact that the cult degrades critical thinking from a very young age, exactly, that's why I actually feel sorry for her, has a lot to do with the why do we have a cross, but have nothing to do with Jesus or the Bible question many second gens ask at a young age. And by the way, since that came up recently, like, what the hell is the cross? It's a good question, and there's several reasons for why they use the cross. Initially, Hubbard said in a note to one of his buddies, we're going to use the religion angle. We got to cloak ourselves up in black and white, and we got to get a fucking cross out there so that we seem like a religion. So he knew it was a scam. He knew the effect that particularly a Christian cross would have on the subconscious, and it would make it look like a religion. That's the more outer rim explanation. The second explanation, what they tell Scientologists in the bubble world, is you'll notice the cross has 8 points on it, and those represent the 8 dynamics. I'm going to show you a video here shortly, clip on that, so I'm not going to explain it all. And the third is the esoteric meaning, which has to do with it being a crossed out Christian cross, i.e. a satanic cult, and that comes from the Rosicrucian cross of Aleister Crowley, who L. Ron Hubbard was not only inspired by, but it was the number one, I would say, inspiration for creating Scientology. So I'll show you a quick clip on what those meanings, what they actually mean. So stand by. This is from a video which I'll link called The Bridge to Total Amnesia Part 1 on the series that kind of goes into that. And then I'll link another video in the description box called L. Ron Hubbard, Maitreya to Magickian, because he claimed to be everyone from the Buddhist reincarnate to Lucifer reincarnate. And the symbolism of Scientology is covered in that video, and there's fucking tons of esoteric symbolism in Scientology, the cross being but one. The second part of the occult that L. Ron Hubbard started out in as a teenager and progressed, and what Scientology is actually about, and what L. Ron Hubbard's true intention was to create, is basically a satanic cult, as crazy as that sounds. If you look at the Scientology cross, they'll tell you it's the eight points on the cross represent the 8 dynamics, which we'll talk about. That's quite a lengthy explanation, but it represents the 8 dynamics are all the areas that one uses to survive in. Actually, if you look at it, it's a crossed out Christian cross, which should be your first clue that it's a quote unquote satanic cult. And he took that cross, by the way, from Aleister Crowley's Rosicrucian cross. And when we get into the area where we deal with the signs and symbols of Scientology, because one of the ways the programming is working is through the symbolism as well. When we get into that, we'll discuss that more. But your first clue that you're dealing with something sinister is that Scientology literally has a crossed out cross as their logo. Okay, like I said, link in the description box if you want to see more on that. I just wanted to answer that question because that came up yesterday. Now, is she a freaking Scientologist or not? So if you look her up by her maiden name, Tiffany Elizabeth Estey, this is why it's so hard to find stuff on her, because she doesn't have it listed on the on her name that she goes by. On Google and find some stuff. Her and her family are from Clearwater, if I remember correctly. I believe they're actually from Tampa, and there's many that's right on the outskirts, and there's many Scientologists that hang out and live in Tampa as well. Stand by for a drink of water. I know her dad is very active, and several of her family members work for the cult. There are some public photos with her at centers also. In regards that, you can see here from Tony Ortega's Underground Bunker. Tiffany's family are elite ambassadors in Scientology. Look for her father's name, Chris Estey, below. And these are rankings about how much money you basically give to the cult, if I remember correctly. So premier ambassadors are here, and you can see they are elite ambassadors. Everything's about the title and the ridiculous names that they give themselves within the cult. Here's Chris Estey and the family. Managed to dig this up too. Let me pull this up so you can actually see this, because this is her whole family, which is obviously a Scientology event. Got to throw you guys out of the chat real quick. So let me show you who we got here. This is her right here. She's hidden right here in the back. This is her mom. And this is her father, Chris Estey. And obviously, this is a Scientology event. You can see the esoteric symbol there of the pyramid. The double triangles is right here with the snake through it, which is the Scientology symbol. And then you can see dissemination. This is clearly a Scientology event. And her frickin' father, again, this is why I feel sorry for her, man. Her frickin' father was an OT8 in 1989. Chris Estey in Scientology's published service completions list, at least one completion. This is all they show for him. But man, if you're growing up with an OT8 father most of your life in 1989, it's hard not to feel sorry for why she's kind of so fucked up, in my opinion. Anyways, that's basically all the information I had. It's really hard to find information on her. Let me see if I have anything else. But she's definitely, at the very least, I would say, a second-generation Scientologist that has done some choruses at least, clearly has the indoctrination, because I just showed you 2 clips of her talking the language. That's clearly Scientology language, but there's a lot more. But I don't recommend suffering through the videos. They gave me a headache. I watched hours of her videos trying to find the Scientology concepts. And there's many more, but there's something about listening to somebody that talks for an hour, appears to be relatively intelligent, and at the end of that hour says literally absolutely nothing. And I can't even remember like what the hell I watched. Take some comments here real quick before we roll out. Let me see who we got here. Stand by, please. Twisted again. How are you doing? Doug, if a WOG person, I hate using that name, it means the N-word in certain parts of the country. We were told it meant worthy Oriental gentleman while we were in the cult, so we didn't know what that word meant. But in particular parts of the country, it's actually a really bad word. But I just hate hearing that nowadays. But it's cool, Twisted. I know. You got to say what their nomenclature is. Doug, if a WOG person was to walk into the Scientology building and ask someone, what do I need to do to find Xenu? Do you think they would throw me out or tell me to come in and sit down? It depends on the person. They would either throw you out because they would know that you're there to just joke and degrade and you're not serious. Or if you had a very uptone, as they say, and they call it happy person that needed a statistic that particular day so they can eat, then they might actually engage you. It depends. But in general, it's not the way to, just my opinion, but joking to cult members, or, Reckless Ben did a video where he did the same thing. Basically, he went to try to get a Scientologist on Hollywood Boulevard to say the word Xenu. If you're really trying to snap somebody out of a cult or a mind control situation or a coercive group, the last thing you want to do is insult them or challenge them, because they're just going to defend themselves. They're going to look at you as the idiot. I'll give you an example. People would tell me once in a while that I was in a cult. They would throw the Xenu word around. Even when I had gotten up to that level, I would lie about it and deny it. I was so confident. The brainwashing makes you so confident that everybody else around you is wrong, i.e., I'm sorry to use this word, the WOGs. That's what we were told you guys are that aren't Scientologists. We know that you have this thing called the reactive mind. These are all the moments of pain and unconsciousness in your subconscious that are causing you to act the way that you're acting, that are causing you to come up and say, Xenu, 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 you're in a cult. As soon as somebody challenges Scientology, we not only look down on you even more and know that you're the idiot, but it pushes us further into a confirmation bias that indeed the outside world is evil and they need to handle their reactive mind even more because of the very behavior of someone teasing them. I hope that makes sense, but it really, the best way to do it, I'm no expert. I don't even think I've gotten anybody out of Scientology, but I certainly kind of care because I don't feel I'm above them because I was that person. So if you don't actually, I think the best way is to actually care about the person. Ask them penetrating but non-threatening questions over a period of time. Drop seeds. Don't go for the one-shot snapping them out of it by insulting them. And if you're a real friend to them and they'll listen to you, you can put out information that are out there in a non-threatening way without saying, you need to look on the internet. Haven't you watched Leah's show? Like, you can put out seeds there gradually where if you're their friend, you're not going to push them away and they might actually listen to you. Sorry for the long ramble, but the whole Xenu thing, yeah, there's only 5% of Scientologists that know about Xenu because that's on a level called OT3, and 5% get up there. So they're not only not going to know what you're talking about, although they might have heard that word cursively through other people trying to insult them. It's not doing anything in terms of breaking down their programming. Okay, I don't think we have any more questions. Let me just check here real quick. Okay. Yeah, ciao. And I'm going to get back to you shortly, my friend. I've just been overwhelmed. It really was a hit. Thanks for taking the hit for us. I'm definitely not seeking her out. Yeah, me neither. It's just good to be aware of these people. I mean, she has one hell of a following, and she's still pimping her wares. And has recently calling her out has apparently, jumped to an all-time high as she's skirting back. But it is good to be aware of who these social media influences are that are Scientologists, so we can decide on our own whether or not to put our money there. That will probably undoubtedly go to help the cult. That's my only take, because otherwise you'd say, well, this person's a Christian or this person's a Buddha or whatever, right? Buddhist. So what are we going to do? Go and judge everybody? Well, not all those organizations are necessarily human trafficking people, brainwashing them. Well, that's debatable, but you know what I mean. Scientology's clearly destructive. Some other organizations aren't necessarily as extreme, and at least if we know who they are, we can put our money where we choose to or not, irregardless of the validity of the product, because that appertains to what somebody said earlier about, fuck Ian, and I love Dr. Berg or whatever. Like I said, I don't know about his keto product. From what I understand, it's helped out a lot of people, but I wouldn't support him irregardless, just because I would know where a good portion of that money was going. So we'll see you soon, my friends. There's more to come as usual. And I guess we'll leave off with where this all started for Tiffany, I would say, because she seems like a second generation. What fucking chance does she have growing up with an OT8 father in 1989? And maybe someday she'll snap out of it. She'll find the real right why, which is the fucking family that indoctrinated her and the cult that twisted her brain. So we'll leave off with the unwise words from the man that started all this shit, invaded Tiffany's family, and caused them to spend a bunch of money on something that is supposed to take you to the bridge to total freedom.
We have the idea of a bridge across the chasm. Now that is an old mystic idea that there was a chasm. There was a chasm between this existence, where we are now, and a higher plateau of existence. And that many people, trying to make it, fell into the abyss.
Little boxes on the hillside, little boxes made of ticky-tacky, little boxes on the hillside, little boxes all the same. And the people in the houses all went to the university where they were put in boxes, and they came out all the same. And there's doctors and lawyers and business executives, and they're all made out of ticky-tacky, and they all look just the same. And they all play on the golf course and drink their martinis dry, and they all have pretty children, and the children go to school, and the children go to summer camp,